Bitcoin drops under $63,000, leading to a broader market-wide correction. And with this pullback in total, down 15% from all-time highs.
Yeah, for context, this is a pullback for ants compared to what Bitcoin historically has been through, right? In previous bull markets, Bitcoin has experienced 30% drawdowns 5 or more times. So on the way up, in 2017, we went from $1,000 to $20,000. There was multiple 30% drawdowns. Right now, we're about 13 to 15% drawdown. So in historical context, this is actually a very small drawdown in a bull market. Now, the other thing that's happening, I think, is if you extend out and you look over the last 10 years, in the last 5 years, Bitcoin's up 1,500%. The S&P is up not even double. If you go back 10 years, Bitcoin is compounded. The compound annual growth rate of Bitcoin is 60%. The S&P is 11%. And so if you compare those things, if you want volatility on the upside, you're going to need some volatility on the downside to get there.
So we have literally seen dips like this all year. The reason today specifically is because there was more sellers than buyers. This makes a healthy bull market. Dips are healthy. And specifically, the main seller was GBTC, or Grayscale's Bitcoin fund, that was converted into an ETF, continues to experience outflows with $643 million on 3/18 yesterday. This record level selling explains today's price action.
There is some irony in the fact that Wall Street came in and when the ETFs were approved, immediately the price crashed, right? Kind of like welcome to Bitcoin. And then we break all-time highs. And 3 of the last 4 times that we had broken all-time highs, Bitcoin's price had doubled in 18 days or less. And then all of a sudden we get a 15% drawdown. And so I think one of the lessons of Bitcoin over the last, call it 3-4 years is no one knows what the future is going to be. And we've even violated some of those historical rules that people held kind of as these like holy rules, right? We had never seen Bitcoin go below a previous all-time high. We had never seen Bitcoin hit an all-time high before the halving. Both of those rules got broken. And so I think we're in uncharted territory here. And people have to understand this is like an 80 vol asset that, yes, it's been the best performing asset, but it is very, very volatile all the way up.
Now, again, a lot of this is scheduled bankruptcy sell-offs. We'll get into this. But understanding the full data set so you can make the best decision for you as an investor. Here is the final daily breakdown in Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows. In a day when GBTC saw record liquidations to meet bankruptcy obligations of Genesis and others, and when Bitcoin tumbled, BlackRock's ETF saw a surge of inflows. And this shows us ETF demand is relentless and price indiscriminate, meaning for every seller, there's a buyer. Yes, specifically in a one-day span, there was more sellers than buyers, but one of the main buyers was BlackRock. And when we see this big black candle representing Grayscale outflows, this yellow is BlackRock inflows.
Anybody in the world who had an internet connection could have gone and bought Solana for $1 on the liquid exchanges. It went up to $250. Those have historically been returns that have been reserved only for private market investors.
Big news involving low cap altcoins. We'll get to this. But best case scenario for Bitcoin is that we consolidate at these levels, building a strong base. If we were to drop down lower, I would expect, or at least look for, have on the radar, a 30% correction up to, which would take us to around a $51,000 Bitcoin. Another metric to consider as Bitcoin has these pullbacks is short-term holder cost basis, meaning the average price over the last 6-ish months for new investors, short-term holders, or people that have only held Bitcoin for the first time under a 6-month time frame. And the cost basis, the average cost of where they bought their Bitcoin, currently $54,000. Bitcoin can drop to $54,000 and bounce back up. And that would actually be more bullish to me for Bitcoin's future price trend. Short-term holder cost basis has historically held support during bull runs. If the short-term holder cost basis breaks and price fails to get above it, that's a different story. But Wall Street's not waiting. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy again acquired another 9,245 Bitcoin for around $623 million. The company now holds approximately 214,246 Bitcoins, which is more than 1% of the entire supply.
Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy now holds 1% of all Bitcoin that's ever going to be created. Does that concern you?
Not really. I mean, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, they've owned 1% for a decade or so, give or take. And so there's a number of different organizations or people who have, 1%, 0.5%. What I think is really interesting is as Bitcoin's price has been moving up, there's a report that came out that 1,500 wallets per day were reaching the $1 million threshold. And so,
right. And we don't know if those are individuals. We don't know who those are.
But let's just say, some portion of them are individuals. And so Bitcoin is essentially minting millionaires on the way up.
Now, each circle represents every single time Michael Saylor and his company bought Bitcoin. The larger the circle, the larger the buy. And it's just much, much more expensive to buy Bitcoin today than it was when he first started.
How do you think about what's like the ideal distribution, right? Does everyone in the world get one Bitcoin? Well, there's not enough for that, right? How do you kind of view, okay, if we could perfectly plan distribution? Well, the beauty is this is a free market, right? It is kind of the epitome of what economics and a lot of economic theory has always pontificated about. And so what we're seeing is people are buying Bitcoin at the price they kind of deserve, right? If they've done the work and they understand it, they start to buy it. Their access to capital, right? It's not like Michael Saylor has bought all the Bitcoin with his own money. Actually, I would argue that Michael Saylor doesn't control all that Bitcoin. What happens is he's got debt investors, he's got equity investors, he's got himself, et cetera. And so there's a lot of people who kind of have their hand in the cookie jar of that Bitcoin.
And let's talk about meme coins.
So I think right now the market story is Bitcoin and meme coins. And frankly, they're both right? That's kind of the crazy part about this market is the Bitcoin investors have been right. We hit a new all-time high. Everything they've been saying is now getting repeated as talking points by some of the most respected people in finance. But on the other end of this, human nature is gambling, right? We have government-sanctioned lotteries, et cetera. And so if I say to someone, hey, there's somebody over there who put $500 in the thing, went to sleep, woke up, and it's now worth $25,000, there's a lot of people in America who say, well, I'm interested in that. But this just isn't an American story. It's a global story. And so we're seeing these meme coins work. Now, again, it's almost like a video game for adults, right? I don't like playing video games that much. I play every once in a while, but I'm not confused as to say that's real life. And I think these financial assets are very similar. The odds that these things actually have real value or are kind of tethered to anything in the real world are very low. But there are people making real money doing this. And I would argue it's no different than what we see in the stock market many times. People are gambling on, zero-day options. Well, if I buy a meme coin or I do a zero-day option, which one has better odds? That's pretty hard to compete.
Yet always with reward comes risk. Solana meme coin SLERF recovers after its 10 million token burn fiasco. So SLERF, a sloth-themed meme coin on the Solana network, raised $10 million in a pre-sale on Monday. However, the developer behind the project ended up losing all received funds after accidentally sending the token to a burn address or one that's not controlled by anyone. Guys, I effed up. I burned the LP and the tokens that were set aside for the airdrop. Mint authority is already revoked, so I cannot mint them. There's nothing I can do to fix this. I am so effing sorry. So what this means is that the main developer, the founder, lost all the pre-sale funds, meaning I think that anybody that sent in funds to get a better value, a pre-sale value, they lost. The developer deleted those coins. Yet for some reason, SLERF still has a 400 million market cap. So take this as your warning. Investing in crypto is very risky. I have heard that this wasn't an accident, that this was intentional, and he's just trying to play it off. If he did just do this for a marketing stunt, maybe we'll never know. As this market develops, make sure you click subscribe. You do not want to miss a daily video. Also, Aethir Cloud announces its first decentralized AI node sale. I was on the whitelist. I did invest in these nodes. Basically, Aethir is building scalable, decentralized cloud infrastructure for gaming and AI. What makes them different? Number one, industry recognition. Aethir is a Nvidia Inception Program member. Nvidia, obviously a blue chip in the stock market. They have that recognition from them. Number two, network size. Aethir's GPU network is 20 times larger than Render network. Number three, compute power. Aethir offers 45 times more T-flops than the Akash network. Also, infrastructure investment in hardware. The numbers speak for themselves. Anyway, this is just something I was interested in. I'll always explain to you my reasoning. And if you want to do your own research and take advantage in the node sale, feel free to use promo code Altcoin Daily, link down below. But again, do your own research, make your own decisions. I plan to meet my Tinder date at this Web3 is a joke roast event. And anybody who likes comedy, feel free to join us on April 11th in the Santa Monica, California area for the roast of Altcoin Daily. It's going to be epic.
Most eligible bachelor in crypto right now.
Wow. You have a great twin brother. Look at him just selling you.
Link for tickets down below. See you there. Aaron, I love you, bro.
Love you too.
I don't think you guys say that enough to each other. I feel like I brought that out right now.
At least once a bull market, we try and say I love you.
Just every once a bull market. That's entirely fair.
And like always, see you tomorrow.